Okay, now let's talk about the other pronoun. So maybe you want to ask more than just a question of, do you speak Spanish? Yes, I speak Spanish. Maybe we want to say something like, does he speak Spanish? Yes, he speaks Spanish. Or we might want to say, do we eat sushi? Yes, we eat sushi, right? We want to be able to use all the different pronouns. This is something great about Spanish because the verbs follow this structure. And so once you master this, it follows the structure generally. So let's start with él, ella, he, she, or ella, gender neutral, right? There's no word for it. My students always often ask me this. There is no word for it, it's just implied. Okay, so we have our word hablar, comer, insistir. So hablar, we might want to say he speaks Spanish. So you could say él habla. So we have to think about the ending here. So for the A, it becomes A. Habla. Él habla español. For comer, we want to say he eats. Él come. So this one becomes E. Él come. He insists. Él insiste. This one also becomes. Okay, now let's try we. The nosotros form. So we could say hablamos español. We speak Spanish. Comemos sushi. We eat sushi. Insistimos. We insist. You'll notice that the IR is the only one where the ER verbs and the IR verbs are different. I'll show you a chart for all of this at the end, but we're going to start with it contextually. Finally, we can go to they, them, you all. Hablan español. They speak Spanish. Comen, they eat. Insisten, they insist. So you see these two become en and this one becomes an.
Now let's look at these using the chart kind of listed out. I like the chart to be one of the last things that we see because you don't really need this to learn a language, but I'm providing it here for you so that you have the structure if you want it. This is what we just talked about. So let's ask the same question or a similar question. ¿Hablas mucho? Do you talk a lot? No, no hablo mucho. I don't talk a lot. You can see when it's saying, do you talk? They're using the AS ending because it's you for an AR verb. The response ends in O because whenever we're talking about ourselves, it's always O, hablo. ¿Escribes en tu computadora? You see it's the ES ending because it's you and an ER verb. ¿Escribes en tu computadora? Sí, escribo en mi computadora. Yes, I write on my computer. Come sushi, the ES ending, because it's do you eat sushi? Sí, como sushi. Yes, I eat. O I. All right, let's try the other ones. Él habla mucho en casa. Does he talk a lot in class? No, él no habla mucho. He doesn't speak a lot. You see, we both end in A, both of these, because we're talking about him in the question and the answer. Ella escribe en su computadora. Does she write on her computer? Remember, there's no do or does. It's just she writes in her computer. Yes, she writes in her computer. Sí, ella escribe en su computadora. ¿Ustedes comen sushi con frecuencia? Sí, nosotros comemos sushi a veces. Here's a little different, right? They're saying, do you all eat? So it's the ustedes, ellos form, ending in en here. Comen sushi. Sí, nosotros comemos. We eat sushi sometimes. Now let's put them all together and do a few. ¿Hablas mucho en clase? Sí. No, 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 yo no hablo mucho. Okay? So it's the AS ending. Do you talk? And then the answer is in the O ending. No, I don't talk a lot. Él come sushi. Does he eat sushi? Sí, él come sushi. ¿Usted se escribe mucho en clase? Do you all write a lot in class? Yes, we write a lot. So it went from the en ending because it was asking you all, and then you're responding with us, nosotros, we write. Nosotros escribimos mucho en clase. This is it. You've got it. When you can do this, and this just takes some practice, and you have a few basic verbs down, then this is basic communication that you have access to at this point. We're going to add one more thing, and that's asking questions with question words, which just adds a little bit more complexity to what you're able to ask. You might already know some of these. ¿Qué? What? These are all in the worksheet. ¿Quién? Who? ¿Dónde? Where? ¿Cuándo? When? ¿Por qué? Why? ¿Cómo? How? ¿Cuál? Which? ¿Cuánto? How many? Let's look at some examples. So here's with the verb vivir, to live. ¿Dónde vives? Where do you live? Vivo en Nueva York. I live in New York. You see, you're still conjugating the verb for the subject, even though the subject isn't listed, because we know that we're asking, where do you live? Estudiar, which means to study. ¿Qué estudias? Estudio español. I study Spanish. Trabajar, which means to work. ¿Cuándo trabajas? When do you work? Trabajo los fines de semana. I work weekends. Estudiar, which means to study. ¿Dónde estudias? Estudio en mi casa. Last one, escuchar, to listen or to listen to. ¿Qué música escuchas? What music do you listen to? Escucho, I listen to pop music. Escucho música